Cinderella lives in the English countryside. It's been 5 years since her mother died and Cinderella's finally enjoying life. 15 and wow, what a natural beauty. With long wavy auburn hair down to her waist and pretty little freckles sprinkled across her face. In school she has plenty of friends and these are the good days she hopes will never end, and then her dad comes in and brings the news like a whirlwind. He says, "You got to pack up your bags, we're leaving in 16 days. I've fallen in love and we're moving to LA. I'm directing a new modern day picture of King Lear, so you can object all you want, but we've got to go." As Cinderella leaves all she's ever known behind, next to her father she silently cries. The tears soon evaporate when she's standing outside of the mansion gates, and she bounces into this new chapter of her life and meets her dad's new girlfriend, and this is when the weirdness starts happening. This chick's like 56 and her face don't move with all the Botox and plastic. And then she gets introduced to her two daughters, Jessie and Laurie. Might as well be Paris and Nicole with their surgically perfect looks and their boutique wear only once clothes. They speak like Siamese twins. "Oh, like, how are you?" "Let's take you to your room." Cinderella's taken to the tiny room at the top of the house and she feels so unwelcome that she feels to scream and shout, but she knows that no one will listen or care, so she doesn't bother to let it out. Her dad leaves, he goes to location and film in Paris, and this is when the Silicone sisters and the stepmothers really start taking the piss. They take her to all the best boutiques and they get her to carry the bags, cackling like hags. "Mummy, this is like the best slave we ever had." "Yeah, I'm so glad you got that director, Mummy." You know, and Cinderella's in school and she's just tick-tocking the time away, and now she's becoming body obsessed and she just totally hates her face because Jessie and Laurie tell her all the time when they're in the Botox getting rid of their lines that your eyes are like way too close together. Yeah, you need a nose job. And now Cinderella's becoming body obsessed. She never eats and her whole life is becoming a mess, but Valentine's Day is coming up and the hottest guy in school is having a party. And Jessie and Laurie are so excited and they're totally annoyed that Cinderella's been invited, so they go and get new nose jobs so they can look surgically perfectly plastic in the mirror and they could get to the heart of the new hottest guy in school, Rob. But no one knows that Rob is actually secretly a really deep guy who sits in his room and he writes poetry at night, and he's looking for a spiritual lady to become the love of his life, and he's got a cunning trick, he's got a magical mirror. Now this magical mirror can only see a real spiritual deep beauty. It can't see surgically plastic titties. It can't see the soul of them. They ain't no cuties. So the day's drawing close and it's getting nearer, and Jessie and Laurie are looking surgically perfectly plastic in the mirror, and the day dawns, they wake and yawns, and Cinderella spends the whole day following the Silicone sisters. She's so upset, she's absolutely covered in blisters, and they leave done up for the nines to the party, and Cinderella, because she's all alone, she just cries, "For once I just want to fit in!" And this is when the weirdness starts happening. The fairy godmother arrives by her side and says, "Excuse me, what's wrong with you?" She says, "Look, I don't know you, I don't normally tell people how I'm feeling, but you know what? I'm secretly in love with this guy in my school called Rob, and I'm so ugly, I still have my own nose and I still have my own hair." Okay, said fairy godmother. So she waves her magical wand. Suddenly, gone is her auburn hair. She now has blonde extensions everywhere. Gone is her nose. She now has a nose that Jordan would die for. Selma Hayek's hips, Angelina Jolie's lips, and a boutique dress that is so a one-off. Her pushbike has turned into a BMW convertible. Now this is really living comfortable, and the fairy godmother says to her, "You know that you must get home before 12 o'clock because you're going to go back to your natural looks." Cinderella arrives at the party and everybody's by her side because her new looks are so to die for. And Rob the hottie, he is looking so bored, he's trying to look for the only normal girl in school, Cinderella, and he looks and scans the room, he doesn't see her anywhere, he thinks this is a situation that's doomed, and all he sees is the plastic clones, and it doesn't even sound like it's music anymore, it just drones. But Cinderella is having the time of her life. She's bumping and grinding in time, and the clock just ticks on by. It's 11:59, and Rob the hottie is right by her side, and this is a chance to grab him, and the mirror draws close. It's right there. All her looks fall off, they disappear, and the mirror speaks to Rob of a real deep cutie. Cinderella runs all the way home. Well, she's actually on her bike, but, you know, she goes all the way home, tattered clothes and a tattered soul, and she reaches the top of her room and she contemplates suicide, but she's far too chicken to take her own life. No one in the party saw what happened. And the next day, Rob is determined to find this beautiful, spiritual, deep lady. So he goes across with his mirror to the whole of LA, and he doesn't find one until he knocks up on their door. Silicone sisters answered, and from the mirror they just get ignored. But the mirror is saying there must be a real beauty in this house. So Rob demands that she gets brought out. Cinderella comes down. She can't hide the hurt and the confusion from the tears that have blinded her eyes. She comes down. Rob is right there. He's right by her side. The mirror speaks of a real deep cutie. Rob whisks her up. He takes her in her arms. She gets swept away by his charms, and he says to her, "You are the flower that blossomed from a garden of weeds. You radiate sunshine. You're a natural beauty. I ask you this today, would you please be my lady?" She says yes, and they hold hands, skipping together righteous, living together happily ever after, off into the sunset. Thank you. You know,